Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to do something a little bit different here on the channel. I'm going to do a video here about my 2008 Jeep Wrangler JK Unlimited. Now you have not seen this on the channel for quite some time. I was actually intending to focus on this vehicle. Then I ended up getting my first Corvette, then my second Corvette, and kind of became a Corvette channel. But I feel like the time is right to go back to my original intention of my channel. Now I do still have my Corvettes, which I'll show you in a second here. But I think it's time right now, and fortunately I got to start with some bad news. And yeah, my Jeep got vandalized. So stay tuned, I'm going to explain. Now before I explain exactly what happened to my Jeep in this video, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce some of you who haven't seen this yet. Now, it was quite a few years ago when I first introduced the Jeep on my channel. This is my 2008 Jeep Wrangler JK Unlimited X. Now, I've had this Jeep since I believe it was about 2016, so going on about 6 years. And this was originally going to be the video or the vehicle that was going to my channel was going to focus on this vehicle. And then I happened to I'll just say fall into my yellow Corvette, and then proceedingly ended up getting my Grand Sport. But I originally got this Wrangler because I always like Jeeps. I wouldn't say always, but I had in 2007 leased a unlimited Wrangler when they first came out. Loved it. I leased it, so I wasn't able to actually keep it. I ended up actually getting a 88 Wrangler for a bit, which was a pile of junk, unfortunately, but I love the thing. And then the time came back around where I was able to get another one, and I chose this one, and here we are 6 years later. And this has just been a good year-round, all-around fun vehicle that, unfortunately, my Corvettes have taken attention away from. So that's a real quick, brief overview of where I'm at with this vehicle. And for those of you that can't live without Corvette content on my channel, this is where I'm currently at. As you guys can see, my 95 yellow Corvette is back here in the garage. My brother sold his house, and I was unable to just keep it sitting there anymore, so the time was to bring it back. And there is the Grand Sport. Now, many of you obviously know both of these vehicles very well, and for anybody that has recently subscribed, these are my two Corvettes. 1995 yellow base model C4 Corvette, 1996 Grand Sport manual transmission LT4 Corvette. Super rare, not so super rare. All right, so now that we've got that daily dose of my Corvettes out of the way, as you guys can see here, for a 14-year-old Jeep, this thing is actually in pretty good condition. Now, it's definitely seen better days, and it is definitely showing its age. But I would say overall, in general, for a 14-year-old Jeep that is driven, I wouldn't say daily, but is definitely driven year-round, rain, sunshine, whatever that the Wisconsin weather can throw at it, this Jeep has definitely seen it, and it's not too bad. I'll be honest. In the past, I've had vehicles that were much younger, I guess, not quite as old as this vehicle, that were completely rotted and falling apart. And I'm not going to say any specific names, Ford, but loved Broncos before, but those things fell apart if you actually use them. So I have to say, in my 6 years of ownership of this vehicle, I am very happy. But there are some things that it is definitely going to need here in the not too distant future. And part of that is going to be fixing up vandalism that occurred in my Jeep. So let me show you that now. So I know that a lot of you have a different impression of what vandalism actually is. And as you can see, there's nothing really too noticeable about the Jeep, right? So when it comes to vandalism, what actually happened was my Jeep got egged and it was damaged. Right here and right up here. So what this is that is, if it'll focus on it correctly here, that is scratches, chips through the paint, and of course, right by the driver's door handle is where it's worse. If I can get that to focus, come on, focus, there it is. So as you can see, it is right down to the primer, unfortunately. Well, that really is not very fixable. That is vandalism. Now, I know some of you out there are going to think, oh, having a vehicle get egged, it's just a joke. It's no big deal. You just clean the car off and everything will be fine. Well, unfortunately, when you egg a vehicle, the shell itself, depending on the speed, and I believe what happened was I was over at my friend's house. I was parked in front of his house for a couple hours. I came out. I saw that the vehicle was egged, and after the next day, I got outside and I was able to clean it up real good. And I saw this damage, and I saw this damage, and I cleaned up on the inside. I'll throw a couple pictures in here of the mess that I left because unfortunately, when I was parked, I had the windows were cracked, and it got on the inside. So I think they were trying to throw it into the window of my car, but unfortunately, this is the worst part. This is the damage. So I'm sure many of you out there think that that's no big deal. Of course, you know, egging a vehicle, you kind of think, oh, just, clean it up and all that. But when that eggshell hits the paint, depending on the speed, I mean, that's calcium, I think. I mean, it's a solid, and it's a solid, hard substance. And when that hits at speed, it's going to do damage. So I know there are some of you, I'll say on the younger side out there that think it's funny and it's a joke to go and egg a vehicle. But unfortunately, because of this and this, more than likely the only way to fix this is to have both of these two doors repainted. And my guess is, I haven't had an estimate done on anything like that. My guess is that is probably a couple $1,000s in damage. I mean, I figure at least a few $100 paint and labor and all that. If I had to take a guess off the top of my head, I'll put it at probably $500 to $1,000 to repaint each one of these doors, just to fix that and to fix that. Now, why haven't I done that yet? Well, the reason I haven't done that yet is because this is not a perfect Jeep, and I don't think it's probably worth the insurance claim that I have to pay a deductible on, and it's probably in general not worth doing at this point. Now, the vehicle is worth a fair amount of money. I mean, depending on where you look and what sources are, I mean, well over $10,000, maybe closer to $15,000 when the market isn't insane, maybe more right now. But it's not through the primer, and as far as I can tell, a little wax, maybe a little touch-up paint, I can take care of it myself. But if this were a brand new Jeep, if this were a 2022 Jeep that I just gone out and leased, which was something I did consider, for instance, my buddy where this happened is he's got a brand new Gladiator. If he would have been parked out in front and this happened to his, I mean, you'd have no choice, but you would have to fix it. And my guess is, probably a couple $1,000s in repairs to do that. Egging a person's car, egging any vehicle, it's not a joke, and it can have serious consequences to a vehicle, and depending on how much damage is done to that vehicle, could put you in the neighborhood of serious criminal charges because it is vandalism. Now, I'm kind of taking it in stride because my Jeep isn't perfect, but if it was, I'd be really pissed, and I think somebody out there would be possibly on the hook for some pretty severe penalties because of it. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, I guess I figure the time is right where I should probably go over all the things that my Jeep needs and why it is not perfect. And I think the biggest thing that I'm going to probably start here with is explain to you the hinge problem. Now, anybody that's got a Wrangler of this generation knows the hinges, if I get the shadow out of the way, that the hinges are a huge problem on these vehicles. Due to the fact that these are, I believe, aluminum hinges mounted to a steel door, there's a corrosion problem that comes up on all these hinges. Passenger side door isn't too bad, but this one is getting quite a bit on the rusty side, and I'll take you around to the driver's side and show you that that just continues on. Now, I'm led to believe that these ones were changed out by the previous owner because these ones look pretty good, and when I had my 2007, these were the first ones that got really bad because this is what you used every single day. My guess is if that wouldn't have been the case, they would have turned out and looked a little bit more like this. Now, these hinges are getting tight. The paint is chipping off. This is the aluminum. So that needs to get addressed on that. So I figure since I already have to go in and do some touch-up paint here where you got egged, I guess I'm going to probably deal with these hinges along at the same time. So the hinges need to get taken care of. We do have a little bit of rust starting on a few different spots. This is not terrible, especially since this whole panel can come out. So I'm thinking about just taking the whole thing out and repainting it, or maybe, sanding it down, touching up, and doing some sort of wrap or something like that. You know, so we'll see as time goes on. Now, another thing that needs to get addressed is my bumpers. They have definitely seen better days. I personally have not hit anything with them, but the previous owner that had it before me, obviously, um, apparently found a few spots to go and dink it up. So you can see here. Plus, they're just the ugly original plastic bumpers that came with it. Also, the license plate holder was cracked and somehow attempted to be fixed, but it's held up. I just haven't dealt with it, but I think that that time is near. So, also, all over the top, like the previous owner, when he was probably setting them down in his garage, he probably just, set them on the side or whatever, and they've, you know, gotten scraped up. So it wouldn't hurt to touch those up and get that fixed up. Another big thing, unfortunately, is the crack in the windshield. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but kind of started up over here and it worked its way down and around and came all the way and ends right about there. And once that started, there really wasn't much of anything that could be done. I believe that there was a chip right up here from a rock or something like that, and it started as a little small little crack, and then all of a sudden we had a really cold winter. Temperatures dropped, heated up, temperatures dropped, and all of a sudden it was just cracked out over there. So that wasn't great, and that is another thing that needs to get addressed. So besides all that stuff that needs to get addressed, it definitely needs a good detail. I need to go from bottom to top, front to back, and go through and just give it a good, you know, polishing, touching up, vinyl restore, stuff like that. Inside needs a really good cleaning. It's been, it's a Jeep. A Jeep is not meant to be perfectly clean. It's a vehicle to get dirty in. It's a rough and tumble vehicle, and overall, it's a utility vehicle. You give it utility. Utility vehicles aren't supposed to be pretty, but it does the job. Now, on the inside, there's not much that needs to get done here. Like I said, just needs to get cleaned up, and that will pretty much suffice there. But like I said, it's been a good Jeep, and overall, it does a good job. Now, the one big thing that I really need to get done here, though, is wheels and tires. Now, previous owner had these wheels and tire combination. These are factory. I believe he got a new set of tires for them, and they are just at the point where they're getting old. I mean, I've had it for 6 years, and I don't know how long he had them. They have a good tread, and they're in good shape, but everything is just starting to show its age. Now, this might actually be one of the original tires to the vehicle when it was brand new. We used it one time when there was a flat, but it's pretty worn down. Rubber's pretty hard. Traction kind of sucked on it. This wasn't in great shape. So as you can see, the tires have some wear over time. Again, though, the tread is awesome. They're getting old. So my primary goal here is time for new wheels and tires. So with all that said, here's where we're at. My Jeep needs a windshield, needs all the door hinges to be replaced. I need to have the egging damage fixed. I need new wheels and tires. And the one thing that I do need as well is I need a new soft top. But I already have that. So that's going to be coming soon here on the channel. So with all that said now, I've decided I'm going to start a new project here on the channel. And that project is going to be Project Cheap Jeep.
Jeep, Jeep.
And what I intend to do is I'm going to see what products that I can get to fix up and update this vehicle in the most cost effective way possible. And by that, I mean, I'm not going to buy super high end stuff. I'm not going to go with the best name brands that you can get and things like that. I'm just going to get things that will provide utility, will offer good value, and will update and repair the things on this Jeep. Obviously, when I do repairs, I'm going to get quality products. but I really would like to do things like get a new muffler, something that has a little bit of a more sporty feel to it. I might want to replace the bumpers with something a little more rugged and things like that. Want to get new wheels and tires, but I'm not the type of person that's going to spend $4,000 or $5,000 to put, you know, wheels and tires on a vehicle that might be worth twice that, that type of thing. So Project Cheap Jeep is going to be me getting the most cost-effective products that I can to personalize, update, and turn this vehicle more into just not a Jeep you're going to see any day on the road, but my Jeep. You know, Project Cheap Jeep will be my Jeep the way that I want to do it, and I want to do it as cost effectively as possible. So if you guys are looking forward to that, if you could please hit the subscribe button if you like this video, and if you never knew that egg in a vehicle could cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in damage, hit that like button. You know, and that's pretty much where we're at here with this. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, got a little bit of information on it, and tune in soon because you are going to see Project Cheap Jeep Part 1 coming soon to the channel because, like I said, I've already got that soft top and I want to put that on here. And wheels and tires are, I'll just put it this way, I got something lined up and that's coming here real soon. So I thank you all for watching and I hope you tune in to the next video. We'll see you soon.